Have you ever stepped out onto your patio on a warm summer morning with a cup of tea in hand, only to feel that quiet pang of longing for a garden that feels alive and welcoming without asking for your every spare moment? The kind where the leaves rustle gently in the breeze, carrying hints of sweet herbal scents and the soft hum of bees going about their work, all tucked into containers that seem to manage themselves year after year. As a fellow gardener sharing thoughts from the soil, I know that dream well. The desire for vibrant, long-lasting beauty in pots that don't demand constant pampering or yearly replanting. That's where perennials come in, as the ultimate solution for those of us with busy lives. Whether you're juggling family in a suburban American backyard or squeezing in gardening between city routines on a European balcony. These resilient plants return stronger and fuller each season, building deep roots in their containers and creating a sustainable, organic haven that supports biodiversity right at your doorstep. Unlike annuals that fade away after one glorious show and leave you scrambling to start over, perennials settle in like old friends, offering foliage, flowers, and even winter interest with minimal fuss. They thrive on natural methods, good soil health, companion planting for natural pest control, and seasonal rhythms that align with temperate climates across the US and Europe. From the cooler, damp springs in northern England or the Pacific Northwest to the variable summers in the Midwest or central Germany, these varieties handle it all with grace. They ask only for a bit of sunlight or shade as suited to their nature, occasional watering when the soil dries out, and well-draining pots to prevent root issues. In return, they deliver layers of color, texture, and life that turn small spaces into homesteading-inspired cottage gardens full of small wins and sensory delights. Let's explore some of my absolute favorites, the ones I've watched transform forgotten corners into lush oases through stories of real garden life, complete with practical tips, troubleshooting ideas, and ways to make them work in your own setup. Shifting first to those wonderful shade lovers that bring cool calm to dim spots. Hostas stand out as the leafy kings of the foliage world, their broad, heart-shaped leaves creating lush mounds that soften hard edges of patios or balconies. Varieties range from deep emerald greens to variegated patterns of cream and lime that catch the morning dew like tiny jewels. I remember placing a large pot of hostas by my back door last year in a Zone 5 U.S. garden. Even when life got hectic and watering slipped my mind for nearly 3 weeks, they bounced back beautifully after a good soak, their leaves unfurling bigger and bolder than before. In containers, they perform just as well as in the ground, staying compact and forgiving. They thrive in partial to full shade, making them perfect for those areas where other flowers refuse to grow, like north-facing walls common in urban European homes or shaded American porches. For best results, use a pot at least 12 to 18 inches wide with a rich, well-draining mix of potting soil, compost, and perlite to keep roots happy without sogginess. In late summer, elegant stalks rise with lavender or white blooms that add a bonus of gentle movement and attract pollinators. Pair them with ferns for a woodland layered look or Heuchera for contrasting foliage colors. It creates effortless depth that evolves with the light throughout the day. Pros include their near unkillable resilience and low water needs once established. Cons might be slug damage in very damp climates, fixed with organic barriers like coffee grounds or diatomaceous earth scattered around the base. For seasonal care in temperate zones, divide clumps in spring every few years to refresh and share with friends. Water deeply but infrequently in summer. Clean up faded leaves in fall. And protect pots in winter by grouping against the house or insulating with straw in zones 4 through 8 equivalents across Europe. This supports soil health by encouraging earthworms in the potting mix over time. If yellowing occurs, it's often overwatering. Ease up and improve drainage for quick recovery. Hostas remind us that beauty can be quiet and steady, rewarding patience with ever-expanding mounds that make your garden feel established and peaceful. Next up, daylilies bring that cheerful color explosion without the constant maintenance many flowers require. Their trumpet-shaped blooms in fiery reds, sunny yellows, soft pinks, and rich purples open each day like personal greetings from the earth. And though each lasts just a day, the plant produces so many that your container stays colorful for weeks on end. What makes them ideal for the lazy yet loving gardener is their adaptability and toughness. They don't mind a bit of neglect and bloom profusely without deadheading. Last summer, I had a pot of daylilies on my sunny patio in a Zone 6 setup. It endured a 2-week dry spell during a family trip and still put on a spectacular show upon my return, the strappy foliage providing structure even between flushes. They're hardy enough to survive winters in pots if protected, so no annual replanting needed. Choose a container at least 14 inches across for room to grow, filling with average potting soil, amended with compost for nutrients and gravel for drainage. They love full sun, but tolerate partial shade. In hotter southern U.S. or Mediterranean European summers, in mixed arrangements, pair with lower sedums or ornamental grasses for height contrast and movement in the breeze. Common mistake? Planting in heavy clay that stays wet. Switch to lighter mixes and water only when the top inch feels dry to encourage strong roots. For climate adaptations, in cooler northern Europe or U.S. Northeast, they bloom reliably from early summer into fall. In warmer areas, afternoon shade prevents scorching. Fall cleanup involves cutting back foliage after it turns golden, and overwinter by moving to a sheltered spot or mulching the soil surface. They attract butterflies and bees, boosting your garden's biodiversity naturally. Pros are their pest resistance and multiplying habit for free plants. Cons include occasional rust in humid conditions, solved with good airflow and organic fungicides if needed. Daylilies teach us that simple plants can deliver big, joyful impacts with little effort, turning a plain pot into a living celebration of the seasons. Then there's lavender, the aromatic classic that adds elegance and practicality to any container setup. With its silvery foliage and delicate purple spikes, it creates a touch of Mediterranean retreat on your balcony or patio, the soothing scent filling the air with every breeze and calming the mind after a long day. Beyond looks, lavender's real charm lies in its low demands and benefits. It thrives in full sun and lean, well-drained soil, meaning no constant fertilizing or rich amendments. I planted some in terracotta pots last spring for a Zone 7 European-style garden, and they drew in pollinators while repelling mosquitoes, making outdoor evenings more enjoyable without sprays. Place them in a sunny spot, water occasionally once established, and they'll reward you year after year. Use pots with excellent drainage, a mix of potting soil, sand, and a bit of compost to mimic poor native soils. Bonus: it naturally attracts bees, butterflies, and other pollinators, bringing life to your display while supporting local ecosystems. Pair with drought-tolerant friends like sedum or salvia for a cohesive, low-water theme that works in hot U.S. Southwest or dry Southern Europe climates. Troubleshooting. Leggy growth from too much shade or water. Move to brighter spots and prune lightly. In colder winters, hardy varieties survive if pots are protected from excessive wet. Insulate or bring indoors to a cool garage in harsh zones. Seasonal tips include a spring trim to shape and encourage bushiness, summer enjoyment of the fragrance, fall harvest of stems for drying if you like, and minimal winter care. Lavender's versatility makes it a staple for organic gardeners seeking beauty and utility in one plant, with small wins like fresh-cut bunches for the kitchen adding to the homesteading feel. For those who forget to water, Sedum Stonecrop is your new best friend. Built for survival with fleshy, water-storing leaves that allow them to thrive on neglect. These succulents come in varieties from low-growing mats that spill over pot edges like green waterfalls to upright forms adding height and geometric texture. Their clusters of tiny star-shaped flowers appear in late summer, drawing pollinators, but even without blooms, the foliage provides visual interest all year. I once left a sedum arrangement on a rooftop balcony during a month-long absence in a hot U.S. climate, and it looked as fresh as the day I planted it, a true testament to their carefree nature. They laugh at poor soil and drought, making them perfect for busy schedules. In containers, use well-draining mixes with perlite or grit to avoid rot, and full sun positions on patios or balconies. Combine with lavender for silvery contrasts or coneflowers for bold color pops in prairie-style displays. Pros include extreme drought tolerance and year-round appeal. Cons are sensitivity to overwatering, fixed by checking soil moisture before watering. For US and Europe temperate zones, they handle heat waves and cool falls beautifully, with dried heads offering winter sculptural beauty against snow or frost. Spring division if crowded. Summer occasional soak. Fall enjoyment of color shifts. Winter leaves standing for interest. Sedums enhance biodiversity by providing nectar and cover, fitting sustainable gardening perfectly. Echinacea, or coneflowers, deliver bold, cheerful color with very little work. Their daisy-like blooms in purples, pinks, whites, and oranges, adding wildflower charm to pots. Tough as nails, they tolerate poor soil, heat, drought, and inconsistent watering, returning reliably each season with more vigor. Beyond beauty, they're pollinator magnets, and their seed heads feed birds in fall and winter, extending support for wildlife. In my garden, a pot of echinacea mixed with grasses created a dynamic focal point that swayed in the wind, attracting butterflies daily during peak season. Plant in full sun with well-draining soil. Water deeply but let dry between sessions. Pair with Shasta Daisies for classic looks or Salvia for height drama. Common issues like powdery mildew in humid areas? Improve air circulation and avoid overhead watering. Adaptable to zones 3 to 9, they overwinter in pots with mulch in colder spots. This plant embodies the plant once, enjoy for years philosophy for lazy gardeners, bringing prairie vibes to small spaces with organic ease. Heuchera, commonly known as coral bells, offers versatility and stunning visual interest through vibrant foliage rather than just flowers. The heart-shaped or scalloped leaves come in deep burgundy, smoky purple, lime green, peach, amber, silver, and multicolored blends, making it easy to design complementary displays. They look attractive all season, with semi-evergreen foliage in many climates providing year-round structure. Tall, slender stalks with bell-shaped flowers in pink, white, or red add lightness and attract hummingbirds and bees. In partial shade, they thrive on patios or porches, compact size suiting small containers or mixed pots. I paired them with hostas and Astilbe for a textured shade oasis that required little more than occasional watering during hot spells. Use well-draining mixes to prevent root rot, water during dry periods, tidy old leaves in spring. In colder climates, shelter pots or mulch bases for overwintering. Pros: constant color, low maintenance. Cons: may need protection from intense sun and south. They fit cottage garden feels perfectly, enhancing biodiversity with pollinator appeal. Salvia stands out as a hummingbird magnet with tall spikes of flowers in purple, blue, red, or bicolor blends, adding movement and life to containers. Long blooming from late spring to early fall, they provide months of color with minimal effort, thriving in full sun and heat while being drought-tolerant once established. Their upright form pairs beautifully with lower plants like coral bells or sedums for balanced displays. Forget a few waterings? Salvia bounces back, rewarding tough conditions with better blooms. In my experience, a salvia pot on a sunny balcony drew flocks of pollinators, creating lively entertainment without extra work. Low fertilizing needs and self-cleaning habits keep it tidy. Trim after first flush for rebloom if desired. Great for hot summers in US or Europe, hardy in zones 5 to 9 with winter protection. This perennial is a dream for organic, sustainable setups. Shasta daisies bring classic beauty with crisp white petals and sunny yellow centers, embodying timeless cottage charm. Upright clumps of green foliage support sturdy stems with long-lasting blooms from early summer to fall. They're hardy, resilient, and don't require pampering. Sunny spot, well-draining soil, occasional water suffice. Deadhead for more flowers, but even without, they stay attractive. Pair with lavender for fragrance or coneflowers for wild appeal. Pollinators and birds love them, with seed heads for winter interest. In containers, their tidy habit prevents mess, fitting small or large pots. Adaptable to various climates, they multiply for sharing. Simple care makes them ideal for beginners seeking reliable color. Astilbe adds feathery elegance with delicate plumes in pinks, whites, reds, and lavenders over fern-like foliage. Shade-tolerant, they prefer consistent moisture in pots, mulching to retain it. Blooms in late spring to midsummer last weeks, drying gracefully for fall texture. Mix with hostas for contrast in broad and fine leaves. Ideal for cooler, sheltered spots in US or Europe gardens. Pollinators adore the plumes, adding movement and depth. Low maintenance beyond moisture, they provide year-round interest in foliage. Great for balancing sunny perennials in overall designs. Sedum Autumn Joy is the year-round showstopper, evolving from spring green mounds to summer buds, fall pink to red flower heads, and winter sculptural dried stems. Ultra-hardy, drought-tolerant with water-storing leaves, it thrives in full sun and poor soil. Minimal care, good drainage, occasional water in dry spells, cut back in early spring. Wildlife magnet for bees in bloom and birds on seeds. Perfect as centerpiece or grouped with other tough plants like lavender and salvia. In containers, it creates dynamic interest without effort, fitting homesteading vibes across climates. Its resilience teaches trust in nature's cycles. To tie it all together, think about designing your containers with companions that share needs. Shade groups together, sun lovers side by side. Using organic potting mixes, slow-release natural fertilizers in spring, and mulches for moisture and weed control. A seasonal calendar helps. Spring for planting and division, summer for monitoring water and enjoying blooms, fall for cleanup and protection prep, winter for insulating pots in cold snaps. Common troubleshooting includes drainage problems leading to rot, fix with raised pots or added grit, pest issues like aphids, encourage ladybugs with companion flowers, or lack of blooms, ensure proper light and avoid overfeeding. These methods keep things sustainable and soil healthy, fostering biodiversity in your small space. As the garden seasons turn, these perennials invite us to slow down, observe the subtle changes, and celebrate the small victories like a surprise butterfly visit or a pot overflowing with new growth. Start small this year with one or two that match your light and climate. Plant with care in quality soil, and watch your container garden flourish into a vibrant, low-effort oasis that brings joy season after season. You'll find yourself drawn outside more, not for chores, but for the pure pleasure of it all. Give these ideas a try in your own space, and let the soil and these wonderful plants work their quiet magic while you sit back and soak it in. The rewards are endless, and the garden will thank you with beauty that lasts.